Hi, everybody. We here at McStabber Studios appreciate you tuning in to see our tabletop RPG streams. Some of the content of our streams may be a bit mature and cause emotional responses in viewers. We really take the well-being of our viewers very seriously, and we want you to do what you need to if something triggers you. Mute the stream, take a break, or just skip an episode. Otherwise, if you decide to stay tuned in, we are available in chat during the streams to talk you through it if you need that. Thank you so much, and we hope you enjoy this game session.
Here are the keys to your new home. The smallest key, my dear, is for the closet at the end of the Great Gallery. Open everything. Go everywhere. Save this one little room. I forbid you to use that key.
What will you find in your new husband's house? Husband. What horrors will haunt you? Horrors, horrors, horrors. What darkness will you find within yourself? But in the end, there is only one question that matters for a new bride. Will you open the final door? Will you open the final door? The final door. Welcome, everybody, to McStabber Studios. We are presenting a special stream this evening of Bluebeard's Bride. We're playing this game for charity, raising funds for National Breast Cancer Foundation. They're an organization based in the U.S. that provides services to those that are at high risk for cancer and for those who are currently dealing with the illness. They actually have a very boots on the ground, get their hands dirty approach to helping people by coordinating care, providing support groups, providing mammograms, and a variety of other support services for people. It's a wonderful charity, and we truly appreciate those of you that have donated already because we are starting at the start of this game at $90 raised out of the $500 goal we have. Thank you so much. That means so much to us. Now, as we are playing the game, we will not be stopping to disrupt the flow of the role play to thank everyone individually for donations. We do appreciate them, but to keep the game engaging and to stay engaged with the game, we will be focused on that. However, big spenders, we may have to pause to announce those, okay? All right, so without further ado, I am Relyn Dare, the groundskeeper of this game this evening, otherwise known in most games as a GM. And with me tonight, I have amazing players that have volunteered their time on a Friday evening to do this game for a good cause. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi, everybody. I'm at D&D Jordan Lee, and I will be playing the Animus.
Hello, I'm Sean, and I will be playing the Fatale.
Hello, I am Morgan, or Ivy Raven Online. I will be playing the Mother.
Hello, everyone. My name is Moira Fuller, and I will be playing the Virgin.
Good evening, everybody. I am at the Lifesaver, also known as Mandy, and I'll be playing the Witch.
Now, if you are unfamiliar with the game of Bluebeard's Bride, it is a roleplay game based on the fairy tale Bluebeard's Bride. But instead of each player here playing the bride or brides themselves, they are playing aspects of his latest bride's psyche. So the story goes that Bluebeard was a wealthy lord that had a penchant for marrying young brides. Rumors abounded that he had had multiple wives over the years, and all of them mysteriously went missing. One day, he was out in the countryside and spotted an attractive young woman in the province. And she caught his eye, and he decided to marry her. And we will tell her story tonight. Now, to describe what our bride looks like as part of the character creation, each player had to describe a different aspect of her physical features. Animus, what do her hands look like?
She has light calluses on her hands. While she can step back, she's not afraid to get her hands dirty.
Okay. Fatali, what do her lips look like?
Her mouth is full-lipped with a distinct Cupid's bow. Her lips are very soft, and she has worked hard to keep them that way, with a natural blush of pink.
Okay. Mother, what is the bride's figure like?
The bride has she's lean but strong, and she's tall and thin. She's about 5'7", and she is strong, but she is not muscle bound.
Okay. Virgin, what do the bride's eyes look like?
The bride has eyes which carry heavy lids that droop down almost doe-eyed. They're almond-shaped and are colored a warm, almost watery gray, as if on the verge of tears.
And what does the bride's hair look like?
Long and free-flowing, the red tresses constantly appear to be caught in the wind. There are blue flowers twined in it.
So we have a tall, thin, but wiry, strong, provincial young lady who probably had a hard life with those calluses on her hands. But she's got a little bit of a wild spirit in her with that free-flowing hair and, but she's also got a little bit of a softness to her with those soft lips and those gray, almost sad eyes. So, with each aspect of her psyche represented here, Animus, you are known as the bride's righteousness. What face do you show?
I show the rooster.
Okay. Fatali, you are the bride's sensuality. What face do you show?
Show the face of the spider.
Mother, you are the bride's authority. What do you show?
I show the face of the bear.
Virgin, you are the bride's innocence. What do you show?
Show the face of the victim.
Witch, you are the bride's mysterious feminine power. What face do you show?
I show the medium.
Excellent. So now, viewers, you see what these characters represent for our bride tonight. The wedding has gone off in the province. Bluebeard exchanged gifts with you and with your family because your family was of little means and he is a wealthy man. Your gifts pleased Bluebeard. There were gifts of poetry, an embrace, plans for a garden, and a variety of other things, including a compass that will lead his way. He also gave some gifts to you, one of which was name, title, and status. You left the ceremony with Bluebeard in his carriage and arrived to his estate far away from civilization to see that it is in some disrepair, but not decayed. It seems structurally sound. The groomsman comes around to the carriage door, takes the bride's hand, allows her to exit safely. Bluebeard exits right behind her, then walks up and takes her arm and guides her to the courtyard. In the courtyard, you notice a garden. Seems a bit overgrown. Looks like it hasn't been tended in some time. I do know that the witch's plans for a garden that she wants to grow may be ideal in this location. But it will need some work, certainly. Bluebeard walks the bride up to the door. As he enters the house, the groomsman following with the bride's few meager belongings, he notes a letter on a table by the door. He grabs it, reads it quickly, looks at the bride sullenly, and says, "I am sorry, my wife. I must leave you immediately. I have important business to attend. Please, this is your home. Make yourself comfortable, explore, find what each room holds here. But be mindful." He hands over keys to the bride. This small golden key is to a room off the gallery. Do not enter it. It is my private sanctuary against the stress of the world. I would like for it to remain only mine. Every other room is yours. The bride agrees and says that she will miss him. She had hoped for her wedding night with some trepidation and fear because it was new for her, but also a little bit of excitement. And it looks like it will not come to pass this night. And with that, the groomsmen and Bluebeard leave. Your luggage is left just inside the door. Looking around the room, it's a foyer, an entryway. You see a grand hallway to the back of it that you think leads to some social gathering rooms, entertaining rooms. There is also a small hallway on the east side of the room that you think likely leads to servants' quarters and servants' rooms, possibly even the kitchens from the smells you're smelling. You also see stairs leading up. In the room itself, along the east wall near the servants' passage, there is a fireplace, and right beside you at the door is a table with the letter and a lantern, or oil lamp, as you would say. What would you like to do, sisters?
You should probably prep by picking the lamp, and if it is not so, light it. If there's the appropriate things to do so.
Very good. You actually do pick up the lamp. It is already lit. It is burning. It's not burning brightly because it is a mid-afternoon at this point that you've arrived to the estate. But it is burning just enough that you will be able to navigate the darker hallways well. Okay. Is that all you would like to do before moving on?
Sister, we should check the letter.
I would suggest we
Agreed.
we look at the letter.
Okay.
Definitely.
The bride walks over and picks up the letter and holds it a little bit closer to the light to read it. And on it, it says, "My lord, you must come at once. The opportunity that you sought is now. This could save your estate. Regards, Renaud." What would you like to do?
Place the letter back where I found it so that it isn't, so it looks undisturbed at this point.
Okay.
And probably move to look into one of the nearby rooms.
Okay. As the bride lays the letter down, her stomach begins to growl. The feast that had been hours before at the wedding has obviously run out, and now she's hungry again. The smells of meat pies that smell awfully familiar, similar to the ones her mother made, waft from the servants' passage. As if led by an invisible leash, she starts walking down that passage towards the smell. In her hand is a dark silver key. She places it in a sturdy oaken door with a dark silver handle. The scent of cooling delicacies wafts through the slit at the bottom of the door. The room beckons. You enter, and the door closes behind you. The bride is now in the kitchen. The short staircase leading down to the kitchen is lined with moldy, dried herbs. The kitchen itself is a broad stone room with an uneven stone floor. An ancient metal oven is next to the fireplace, which is just barely smoking from a fire stoked hours ago. A rotund man in a poorly fitting white apron and chef hat dozes on a chair next to a central table. A cleaver tied to his belt scrapes over the floor, back and forth with every labored breath he takes. He is deeply asleep, drool sliding past his cracked lips. Atop the table, dozens of meat pies are piled upon one another, each decorated with a small pastry heart or flower. They smell just like the meat pies that the bride's mother made for special occasions.
I would like to quickly examine the herbs to see if it's something we recognize.
Walking over to the herbs, you see what appears to be, now they are not in the best of condition, but there seems to be thyme, there seems to be rosemary, there seems to be mint, there seems to be sage, and a variety of other leafy herbs that the bride is familiar with.
And then, kind of nonchalantly, as though like a cat who sees something they want but doesn't want anyone to know they want it, she's going to walk over to the table of pastries and examine those more closely.
Okay. All right, so you are investigating the meat pies. A giant meat pie and several smaller ones lie on the heavy kitchen table. Something wriggles underneath the crust of the large pie like fingers attempting to pry open a package. The crust of the large pie finally splits, disgorging a beating heart among the meaty filling. It beats 3 times, the sound like a fist pounding on a door, and then goes silent. Despite the disturbing sight, it smells utterly delicious. The crust is lightly browned and flaky, and the savory sauce has bits of vegetables in it. Surely a tiny piece wouldn't be missed. What will you do?
break off a piece of the crust and examine it.
Nothing else is to be seen with this pie. It is a brown, flaky pastry for the crust.
Sisters, should we wake the chef
I
and
was
ask
going to
about the
suggest
heart?
that. Yes. we should
That
find-
works.
should find out-
That might
find out
work.
what-
Or looking at the cleaver and seeing if it's freshly done with.
Yeah. So we'll walk over and try and poke the chef awake.
He does not wake. He snores even louder.
Shake him more forcefully.
He awakes, startled, and grabs his cleaver and looks at you. Who are you? What are you doing in my kitchen?
I am the new lady of the manor and have come to examine these wares, but this does not look like normal everyday food like we have where I am from.
Oh, it's a
What?
cow's heart. Don't worry about it. It's good eats.
Why didn't you mince it like we would mince something like this before putting into a pie?
Well, if you cut up the pie to eat it, you would end up having it minced anyway.
Oh, and you, is this the way food is always served here?
You see the state of this kitchen. We don't get what we need all the time. We make do with what we have. A cow's heart is better when stewed. Slow cooked, it becomes more tender. Otherwise, it's too tough.
I would agree with you. What if I spoke to our Lord and asked him to provide you with better things? Could you have better food?
Oh, you could try that. I'm sure he'd love that.
Well,
Now, if you're hungry, eat.
we should probably eat just to make a nice gesture to the man. So we don't want to put out our new chef.
Maybe not the one with the beating heart, though.
Agreed.
There's many other options that
Yeah.
look less frightening.
Are there other options that look less frightening?
Or maybe a pie that's a little less fresh.
There are multiple pies on the table. You can pick one.
I would ask him what these other pies contain. If that is the cow heart pie, what are the others?
They are all meat pies. Pick one.
All right. The smallest.
Okay. So the bride picks up the smallest pie, takes a bite. It's not the smells were deceiving. It is not the best tasting pie in the world. But it is filling, and now she is no longer hungry. There are other objects in this room. What would you sisters like to do?
There was a cauldron.
A stew pot?
Cauldron.
I said, he talks about stewing the hearts. I wonder if he's stewing hearts in there now.
Mm-hmm.
We examined the stew pot.
Okay. The stew lies cold in the pot, forgotten for what seems like days. A heavy ladle is frozen in a thick layer of coagulated fat resting atop the liquid and obscuring its contents. What will you do?
That looks like a waste.
Will you pull the ladle?
Yes.
Okay. Pulling the ladle from the fat reveals a thick brown sludge with round bits of meat resting in the chunky liquid. There is a tiny, unmistakably human toe in it.
I would drop the ladle.
Sisters, I'm questioning things.
Yes.
Do you feel you are ready to exit this room?
Shouldn't we at least ask him about the toe?
Agreed.
Yes.
Well, he was so adamant about the cow hearts. He probably will give us the same answer about the toe.
Yes, but if we show him specifically the toe,
You
as
can
visual
also
proof,
Agreed. It looks very wrong, and it is very
You-
wrong if this is indeed
take
a
a
human
look
toe.
at your maiden moves with
I
your
am.
investigation because there's multiple questions you can ask.
Why would Bluebeard keep a toe?
He didn't keep it. It's
No, I
being
know.
cooked for dinner.
Whose toe is this?
Yeah.
One of Bluebeard's children.
That answers some questions for me, at least.
Sisters, this is wrong.
Oh, why did he keep this? Can we ask?
He's not. He's disposing of it.
Disposing of it in a stew pot?
To be eaten.
To be eaten by whom?
A house doesn't run empty. There are servants throughout the house.
you all think that Bluebeard knows? Was it his doing?
I'm starting to wonder if it is.
It would really...
Well, Bluebeard isn't here cooking.
No, he's not. But I highly doubt that the chef would go so far as to just murder or harm Bluebeard's child without Bluebeard knowing.
I mean, Bluebeard was just at the wedding with me. Maybe it happened.
No.
He has to know.
This stew is definitely old. At least a day or more.
Well, then why wasn't the stew thrown out?
Seems
I mean,
forgotten.
That is an excellent question. Perhaps consider the letter you saw in the entryway. Maybe our rich lord is not as rich as he claims.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing can go to waste in a manner this size. That much is abundantly clear. But to mutilate your own child and eat them,
To mutilate anybody.
Well, yeah. I mean, it does play into our favor, though. I suppose if he's going to be that brutal with his other children, maybe that makes it better if we have a child of our own. So please,
Not
our Lord.
necessarily. Our own child would suffer the same fate.
I know, but we have to keep our Lord happy, at least in that case.
By sacrificing ourselves and our children?
We still don't know for certain that the Lord knows about this. I mean, I personally think the chef is not very kind.
Well, maybe we take it up with our Lord when he comes back. But either way, this cannot stand.
Let's not eat anything else until he returns, I think.
Agreed.
The cook has resumed his nap.
Before we leave...
Question him further?
No, I think before we leave, we should just perhaps check to see whether there's any fresh blood on that cleaver.
Mm-hmm.
And then go see what else we can find.
Do you think it's interesting it's tied to him?
Stash the toe, though. It might be useful. You never
Okay.
know.
Since
Okay. You have collected something that will later be used as a token once you're ready to propose a truth. Objects in this game do not have to be put in probably non-existent pockets in a wedding dress. They will basically morph and magically just be what you need them to be. Okay? So you are going to now investigate the cleaver?
Yes.
Okay. Ask 2 questions from your investigation list.
What about
memories
this?
what memories does the cleaver hold?
The cleaver has butchered many, many things over the years.
What about it is...
Pork.
Oh,
Beef, chickens, humans. It has not killed, but it has butchered.
What about this item is odd or uncanny?
The blood on it is fresh, as if he butchered today.
Makes sense considering the state of the pies when we entered the room. So, well, no, it doesn't actually.
Mm-mm.
We should probably leave, sisters. Let the chef rest at least some more. He'll leave us alone then. We're not going to end up in a pie that way.
Groundskeeper, you said that there was also a stove?
An oven,
that-
yes.
An oven.
Mm-hmm.
Could we perhaps take a look at the oven and see if it's warm still from the pies?
Certainly. The bride walks over to the oven, places her hand to it, and burns her hand.
Oh, okay.
Animus, you take 1 trauma.
Got it.
The oven is very hot, as if some of these pies must have just come out of it. Now, what would you like to do, sisters? Do you feel like you have enough to exit the room?
think so.
Okay. How are you going to do it? Are you going to escape or propose a truth? And you can discuss amongst yourselves what that truth is, but ultimately the one with the ring will decide what truth is presented.
I think this, yeah. I think that actually I've had my doubts about our husband, but I think he's at least somewhat faithful. I know this was one of his children, but I mean, maybe they displeased him. We don't know how they ended up like this. Maybe they died in a horse riding accident.
Maybe the child was sacrificed for prosperity. There are still people that are sacrificing to pagan gods.
Sure, but if he could do this to his own child, what does that mean for us? Do we need to sacrifice who we are for him?
Haven't we already?
I feel like we're still ourselves for now.
Well, everything in life is going to cause changes, though. So, I mean, like I said, I know you're arguing that maybe he did this purposefully, but I don't know. At least the pies have little hearts on them. At least, this doesn't seem very malicious. The chef doesn't, at least. So,
Well, Sister, you pose an interesting thought. I would like to pose another. We have given up a lot to be here. How much more are we willing to sacrifice?
Perhaps, though, the person or the person that was that provided this child, whether it was wife or mistress or other, was not as strong as us, did not know how to protect its young as well as we can, and therefore, we have an upper hand and an advantage in that way, and that we can are better providers and protectors of our own, and are maybe better at convincing things to go our way.
I do like your positivity. However, I think we have to be concerned about being overconfident with our own abilities.
I just don't see why Bluebeard would let us roam freely if he had something to hide.
I think the question also lies in that too, though. If he is hiding something, what better way to hide it than to give us open rein, besides the one room?
Well, perhaps we should go investigate the others.
Agreed.
I believe that this was either something that occurred without his knowledge or that was done under the best of circumstances.
That is the truth that you
Yes.
propose.
Yes.
Vitali, you now have a token of faithfulness earned for our bride. We will track the tokens on the screen. Once you have achieved either 3 tokens of faithfulness or 3 tokens of disloyalty, the final room will trigger. Also, we had our first trauma marked in this room. When the trauma tracker reaches full, which is 5 trauma per sister, a sister will shatter. And once she has shattered, she may still participate in discussion with her other sisters, but she can no longer make any moves. If all sisters shatter before the final room is triggered from tokens, the final room gets triggered. Okay? So with this truth now proclaimed, and the bride having a renewed sense of faithfulness to her husband, that there is no way he could have done this with malicious intent, or possibly he didn't even know of it, she exits the room. She now moves through a side exit from the kitchen that leads to a darkened circular staircase. It's obviously a servant's stairway, but luckily the bride was witty enough to think to grab the lamp because it is very dark in here. She travels up this staircase, up and up and up, until she finds herself standing in front of a plain door divided into 2 sections. The lower part opens with the slightest of pushes, but the upper section of the door is blocked, so the bride has to crawl to enter the room. The room beckons. You enter, and the door closes behind you. The bride is now in the nursery. You are standing inside an abandoned nursery in the mansion's attic. The light of sunset slips in through the window on the wall. and it dominates the room. The air is heavy in here, as if it has not been disturbed for many years. There are worn stuffed bears all around the room. On the dusty shelves, the small bed on one side and on the grayish wooden floor. The untidy small bed has both a set of blue and a set of pink pajamas over it. Beside it is a toy box with a half-naked toy soldier on top of it. Something seems to be moving, skittering and shifting in the shadows, hiding from the light. What do you do, sisters?
Can I give control to the mother?
You may pass the ring.
Oh boy. So.
Now, I will say, until the ring is passed again, Vitali, you cannot take trauma.
So I want to kind of step into the light if I'm not already, and
Okay.
the light's coming through the room a little bit, and I just kind of want to crouch down a little bit and kind of put out my hand, sort of in a kind of a like hand out, up, palm up, sort of a caring look, and I want to just kind of say, if you know, I'm not here to hurt you. I just, you know, I'm the new lady of the house, and I'd like to meet you if you'd like to come and say hi.
It does not leave the shadows.
Okay.
You notice dust motes floating in the air above the bride's hand.
What if we offered it a toy?
Yeah.
I think you may have to move closer to investigate that.
Yeah, I want to move over to the toy box
To the toy
instead.
box.
Yes.
What would you like to do with this toy box? Look at your maiden moves and tell me.
I would like to investigate the half-naked toy soldier.
Okay. The naked half of the toy soldier actually belongs to a different doll, but they are combined in such a way that it appears to be one toy. At the bottom of the trunk, you discover a soldier wearing a dress. Beneath the dress, there is a hole punctured in the otherwise even crotch. As you hold the doll, you feel the sensation of hot blood running down your cool thighs.
Okay. Let's see, I'm looking at my options here.
Are you going to shiver from fear?
Sure.
So name the thing you are most afraid will happen.
I'm worried that there's gonna be a doll crawling out of me. Hence the blood, so
You hear a whisper by the bride's ear. Oh, it was so much worse than that. My child was born. Both. And he killed it.
Can I
Said it was an abomination. And you feel the breath on the back of your neck.
Okay. So I hear you, and I'm sorry that he treated your child like that, but I am not my husband, and I don't wish. No, I don't wish, and I don't wish anything bad for you. And sorry, you said the child was killed? He killed it? Okay, I'm just making sure I heard correctly.
You feel a
Shoot.
hand on the bride's shoulder.
I'd like to care for them. place my hand back.
Yeah, I was going to say we should probably try and show them care.
I think that's the wisest.
Thank you. And the hand disappears.
Okay. Can I turn around and take stock?
Okay. You ask one of those questions.
Okay. I guess I want to ask what stalks the bride from the shadows.
In the shadows of the room, it seems you catch a glimpse of... Is that an animal?
Let's see. Okay, so it's in the shadows. I want to move towards it then. I'll move. Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to investigate the shadows?
I will be. You can just move forward, but we need to look before we just jump into things.
Exactly.
Okay. There is no source of artificial light in the room, and the sun is almost down by now. In the half-light, you see creatures made of different parts. You identify a human arm attached to a feline body with a horse head, just to name one. Do you move closer?
I'd like to take stock to see what traps have been laid for me.
The only trap here is the truth.
The truth. So the lights. Okay, so the sun is going down. These poor creatures. I don't want to harm them. They don't seem like they want to harm us, but sisters, I'm at a loss here. So any advice is always welcome.
Sister, I hear you. I am still very concerned with what we are finding out in this room in connection to what we just found out in the kitchen.
The leader of this group of creatures, however, is a mostly human creature with a right side that looks like a man's and a left side that looks like a woman's. It walks to the edge of the shadows and looks at the bride. "You're imperfect, but don't worry," they say. "We'll make you perfect." It starts walking towards you with a pair of scissors stained with a dark red substance. What do you do?
We should leave. We should leave.
We should fight.
Care for the mother. Maybe we can care for this one.
Yeah.
It's only trying to attack us because it was attacked first.
You have the ring. There are certain special moves you can do.
I want to caress the horror. I want to reach out to caress the horror. Yeah.
Roll your blood.
Okay, just a second.
Oof.
Close.
Okay. Unfortunately, it does not respond as you intended from your caress. It does shift its attention to the other creatures. It looks at you and says, "Now you must help me fix them."
Okay. Okay.
What about them needs to be fixed?
They're imperfect. And it takes its scissors and it starts snipping at the creatures. What do you do?
We should help it.
Yeah.
I should stop it.
I mean,
This horror is unnatural. How do you figure you're going to stop it? If we can help it, maybe it will then in turn help us.
that was my feeling. If we can gain its trust in some way, maybe it will let us leave here unmolested.
Won't we still be doing the exact same thing that spirit was stating that Bluebeard did to them?
They're shadows. They're not human. Or if they were, they're no longer.
When did we become God in this situation?
Well, this may help. The spirit, I assume, is what it is, rest. I'm not one for violence, but I do agree that perhaps this isn't real. And this may be a way of just allowing the spirit passage, and then it won't bother anyone else like it was trying to bother us.
And sister, we are no god, but we are the lady of the house, and it falls on us to keep the house in some level of repair, not and take it out, pull it out of disrepair. And currently, this house is obviously in lots of disrepair. So this might be a step in that direction, at least.
I hear you, sisters, but I am still very hesitant.
So what move will any of you make? You're kind of limited with the maiden moves in this situation, but there are ring moves that are appropriate.
Groundskeeper, question.
Yes.
Would it be possible, I know it says what memories does this item hold? Would it be possible to ask us what memories does this room hold? If
No.
not, I understand. Okay,
No, it is for the objects in the room.
fair enough.
Mhm.
What memories do those scissors hold? Or did we investigate those?
We
You did not investigate those.
No.
Yeah. So, yeah, we should probably. Can I ask to see the scissors so that we may investigate the scissors? Would that be, or do I just investigate from a distance? I'm sorry.
You can try asking
Okay.
if that's what you want to do.
Well, he
It is going after the other creatures, basically
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
Okay.
dismember them.
So I am going to actually dirty myself with violence,
Okay.
and I'm going to throw myself upon this creature.
Okay, roll your carnality. And you can choose one. You either disable them, silence them, or mutilate them.
I am going to disable them.
And you do. When you land on this leader of this group of creatures, everything disappears. The horror is resolved. The bride is left with a sinking feeling that Bluebeard's expectations might be a bit high.
Are the okay? So the scissor disappeared.
Everything's
as well.
gone.
Okay, everything in the room is gone.
No. The
Or just the-
creatures, the leader with the scissors, gone.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot. Well, I mean, our sister was right that these were just shadows. And I understand our other sisters' desire to not to get involved necessarily, but sometimes it takes a heavy hand.
Okay. Are you ready to propose a truth, or is there more you would like to explore?
We should probably no. I don't know, sisters. Is there anything else you want to look at?
What is unexplored in the room so far?
Worn stuffed bears, blue and pink pajamas.
I would like to go over and, in an act of rest, like I was hoping to provide to the spirit, fold the pajamas neatly together.
The bride goes over and folds the pajamas neatly. As she's handling the soft linen fabric, she gets a feeling of a memory. What would you like to do?
What memories does this item hold?
Okay. In your investigation further into this memory, you see twins. Young, playing in this room. Probably toddlers. You note that they were playing and climbing on furniture in the room, which they probably weren't allowed to do. The window was open. One of the twins fell out the window. The other twin panicked and ran after its sibling. The bride puts the pajamas on the bed with a tear flowing from her eye. Sean, please give me an okay check. Okay. Now, what would the bride like to do?
In the tidying up the, while I was talking about tidying up the house, I want to put some of the dolls, the stuffed animals, into the toy chest if possible.
Okay. The bride takes the stuffed animals and places them in the toy chest. When she's setting them in the toy chest, her hand instinctively reaches for the doll that had triggered such an event earlier. And as she holds it up to her face again, she realizes this is a token of Bluebeard's truth.
So, sisters, I personally propose a truth for this room.
Y'all can discuss, and then once you decide for certain, let me know the truth you are proposing.
Yep. So I know I have my feelings, but how do you all feel?
I believe our husband engages in pagan rituals and communes with dark spirits.
I don't. We heard that he had something to do with the child's death, but I didn't hear which he. It could have been he the doctor, or he the cook, or he the groundskeeper, or I did not hear that that it was necessarily the master of the house that had something to do with this.
True.
I think there's been neglect in this room, but I don't think intentional.
Except for the child that was murdered? The baby?
Yeah.
Was that neglect? For being imperfect?
Ignorance, perhaps.
Even if the child is imperfect, and he left it here to die and willfully let it to die, that's still the same. It's the same as if he meant to or not to. I mean, at that point.
It's not like it would be a bad thing if he communes with dark spirits, is it?
No, but obviously we've seen that Bluebeards can give us gifts of kindness and show others the same. But there's a darkness to him that I think goes far deeper than even the shadows. I am still concerned.
There is a lot of death in this house.
That is quickly becoming apparent, yes.
Perhaps he's been cursed?
Well, then if he's been cursed, it's probably because of what he's been doing, if he's dabbling in the dark arts or whatever. So he bringing these things upon himself in that case, and that's not our problem, but we also don't have to play into it. So
Agreed. His problems shouldn't necessarily be our problems.
We're his wife.
yes, but if he cannot live up to his end as the husband, then why should we have to hold up his end and our end? All we can be held accountable for is what we can do.
We've only been married for a day.
But look how much we've learned in a day. We would be at fault for ignorance if we choose to ignore these.
That is true.
We should learn more.
Agreed.
So is it
I
okay
don't
if
see anything here that should require us to give up the what luxury we have now. I mean, it may not be the most wealthy establishment, but it's obviously wealthier than what we came from.
We don't know what burden being of high stature holds. I mean, having a child that others would deem imperfect, though I don't think is morally sound, that may endanger someone's title in a way that we
Agreed.
don't understand.
I also think that the items in this room, in all of these rooms, they are paved with blood. How much do we need to dampen our souls in order to continue on? I don't think it's worth it to do that. But I do agree we should do some more investigation.
sisters, are you okay if I propose a truth?
I trust your
truth.
judgment.
Okay.
Mother, what truth do you propose?
Bluebeard is needlessly harsh on those who are supposed to carry on his legacy. And as such, he is holding them to a standard that is impossible. And that is actually not good for us.
The bride has attained a token of disloyalty. And the bride exits the room.
We take a trauma for this, right? For the disloyalty? Okay. All of us or just me?
No, actually, for the disloyalty, no.
Oh, okay.
No. That's just the token.
All right. So we move to the door to exit then?
Mm-hmm.
Or
You exit the room, and the bride feels that she must relieve her bladder. It was a long ride to the estate, and she must take care of her calling. She moves to the next room. The door is worn. It was once white. The paint on it is cracked and worn in many places. A rusty doorknob and decayed lock block the way. The room beckons. You enter, and the door closes behind you. The bride is now in the water closet. The filthy water closet has a rotten smell that hits you like a blow. And the only reason you do not throw up is your fear that opening your mouth will let more of that acrid scent enter your body. The bathtub and the bidet are dirty and abandoned, and the solitary gaslight bulb that illuminates the room flickers constantly, threatening to shut down at any moment. In front of you, a shattered mirror, with only a small remaining piece, shows you your disgusted reflection. Below it, there is a wash basin filled with murky liquid. To your right, a clean hand towel appears totally out of place, maybe as much as the book on the decorated toilet.
First, I want to pass the ring off to the witch, since this house obviously has something not right with it. This more probably falls into her forte.
Okay. So the witch now has the ring. Mother, you cannot take trauma until the witch passes the ring. Fatali, you are now open to taking trauma. So what would you sisters like to do? The bride needs to go to the restroom.
I'm sure we don't need to go that badly, do we?
That's up to you.
At least they were kind enough to leave us some reading material and light to read it with.
Agreed. I'm curious about the book.
Let's walk over and investigate this book, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As the bride steps closer and looks down at the book cover has been ripped out, but you distinguish the name of the author. It is a pillow book that women read in secret about sex and other scandalous subjects. If you open the book, you see that every page has been covered with thick ink with one word, over and over and over again. Filthy. When you look at your hands, you see that they are now covered in ink. You try to remove it, but it isn't coming off. If you go to the sink to clear it, would you do that?
First, I think I'd want to know why Bluebeard kept this item. I can have my hands dirty for a little while.
Okay. Bluebeard kept this item as a warning. But also because it entertained him.
Whose was it?
This belonged to a former bride.
Does anyone feel the need to wash the ink from our hands, or should we just use that clean towel?
I have to wonder why the ink is fresh.
Yeah. I mean,
That's a good question.
The ink is literally wet on your skin, and as the bride rubs her hands, it smears everywhere.
if it's smearing on our hands now, it's going to smear if we rub it on the towel, though. Maybe, I know the wash basin is disgusting, but we've had our hands in worse places. Maybe we should just... I leave that to your discretion, though.
The water looks as filthy, if not filthier, than our hands. I don't know if I trust it.
I'm going to walk over to the wash basin. What about the water is odd or uncanny?
It's just murky. It seems unusual that it would be that dirty, but maybe someone washed something in it.
Plunge my hands in the wash basin.
As you try to clear the ink off the bride's skin, You see her reflection in the mirror just as the ink starts to come out of her eyes, ears, and mouth. What do you do?
That's interesting.
I think we were right in saying that we don't actually need to go that badly.
No.
I take my hand out of the wash basin and I touch the corner of my eye and see if it's just a trick of the mirror or if there's actually ink.
As you blink, when you touch your eye, you see your reflection again, and the ink is gone. The ink is also gone from your hands.
Is the ink still in the book?
You left the book.
That's right.
Don't have it in your hands anymore because you went to the sink to wash them.
I still am curious about why that ink was fresh.
Well,
Let's go back and pick the book up again, sisters.
no.
When you open the book, there is no ink on the pages other than the text that was printed. Filthy is nowhere in it.
oh, it's somewhere in there, but not.
Now, you have a bride with wet hands. What will you do?
That's fine.
Oh, sister, you don't want to walk around with wet hands or to dry our hands on our dress, do you?
I'm beginning to not really trust anything that we see in this house, but I do trust myself above all other things, and myself does have a perfectly good dress on, so.
I have to agree with the Virgin on this one.
There is a crisp, clean, fresh towel.
I'm going to go pick the towel up.
As the bride touches the towel to dry her hands, it is made of a thick, luxurious fiber. It seems heavy and capable of absorbing much more liquid than usual. The towel starts dripping a red substance. After a short while, the drops become a stream. Before you know it, the thick crimson liquid is covering the water closet's floor. It's continuing to rise, soaking the hem of the bride's dress, and it still creeps higher. What do you do?
We gotta go.
Do you propose a truce, or do you try to escape?
What memories does the towel hold?
Soaking up blood. The blood is rising.
Sisters, we should leave.
It's not like we've never seen blood before.
Correct.
And there's no way that it's real. Just has to be a trick of the light.
Perhaps we should call out to someone to see if everything that we're experiencing is just of our own mind.
Agreed. Either way, we should act quickly, or we'll
The blood
drown
is
in blood.
rising.
I'm going to go to the door. Excuse me.
You're going to cry out for help?
Yes.
Roll your resilience.
Okie dokie.
No one answers.
Guess we have to
The
fight
blood
for
is
ourselves.
rising. It is now up to the bride's waist.
Maybe we just need to just leave the room. I mean,
Yes, we need to go.
I want to know what happened here.
okay.
I'm going to go to the mirror. You said it's broken, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to see if I can grab a shard of glass from the mirror, and I would like to use my medium power to commune with the horrors of the room.
Okay. Read what your power does.
Spill your blood to commune with the horrors of the room. Mark 1 trauma, and the groundskeeper will share whisperings about what happened here, and might ask you a question or two. Answer them.
Okay. The bride takes the glass shard in her hand and slices her palm. The blood rising to the surface of the cut and starts dripping into the blood at her waist, now working towards her ribs. Which you hear the secrets of this room. She was deviant, always pleasuring herself. She was drowned. After she took a tumble, cracked her skull. How do you think she fell?
I think she tripped.
How do you think she drowned, then, if she fell?
It's possible she had a concussion and just dozed off in the tub.
The blood is rising. Sisters, what do you do?
Sisters, I still stand. We should go.
There is no truth in this room. Only whatever this is we're standing in, and it obviously doesn't speak to us.
The truth is of a woman who passed, who died and drowned after falling.
What is the truth about Bluebeard in this room?
Bluebeard was resentful that his wife needed to pleasure herself instead of getting her pleasure from him. Maybe he found her and didn't lift her out of the water.
The bride gets a disloyalty token and exits the room. The blood does not flow out of the room with her as she turns to look behind her before the door closes. It is gone, but her dress is now stained.
So much for keeping our dress nice.
All right. Let's see. Looking at the next room that I want to take her to. Do y'all think this bride needs a drink after this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I know I do.
All right.
No more red wine for me, though.
All right. So the bride thinks back. Okay, off the kitchen, she thought she had noticed a stairway going down, possibly to a basement or a cellar. So she goes back down the servants' stairs, lamp in hand, because she's really thinking that she needs a drink after this experience. It has shaken her. She goes down the servants' stair, walks down the hallway past the kitchen, where she can still hear the cook snoring. Goes down the small set of stairs into the wine cellar. The door opens easily when the brass key is slid into the hole, and the bride pushes. The door is damp to the touch and stained with smoke. The room beckons. You enter, and the door closes behind you. The heady scent of moldering oak fills your nostrils as you carefully descend the creaking stairs of the dimly lit wine cellar. Drunk, giggling, whispering dark secrets to one another, servants lounge within this dank room, enjoying the wine from a keg on a central table. Next to the keg, a servant in a dark black mourning suit nuzzles his head into the breasts of a rotund parlor maid, lapping up the wine she pours down her chest. The maid slips her hand under her skirt, shivering in pleasure and kicking a small aged purse from the table. Toward the back of the room, 2 more servants laze near heavy barrels of wine, smoking a thinly rolled cigarette, passing its smoke between them in kisses. They giggle and point at mouse corpses staged around the room in various scenes of carnal pleasure. What would you like to explore?
I would like to look at the mice.
Okay. You see mice corpses, desiccated, dried up, posed in lewd positions. Some positions your young bride mind wasn't even aware existed.
Virgin, I think you need to take the ring.
Pass the ring to the Virgin. Mother,
Cool
you
of
are
you.
now able to take trauma, which you are immune from trauma until she passes the ring.
Well, I am thankful that there are people around. Am I able to... I think the purpose of going here was a drink, so let's ignore the mice for now any further and investigate the barrel on the table.
Okay. I'm sorry, you're investigating what?
There's a keg on the table.
On the
correct?
table? Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Yep, the wine keg. All right.
And because I do not trust from the previous room, I'd like to ensure that it is in fact alcohol and not blood or anything else.
Okay. Okay. The deep red wine pouring from the keg begs to be drunk. The smoky scent, tinged with plums and vanilla, promises excitement and fear. Stepping closer to the keg, you hear a soft knocking from within. The bride pours a glass and drinks. You feel intense pleasure, instantly followed by nausea and vomiting. Searching the keg, the bride finds a large wooden phallus floating in the wine.
This seems like
Whose
one of your
item
Frank's
is this?
sister.
It belonged to a bride. To find out more, you must investigate something else.
Perhaps the bag under the table belonged to her as well. I'll investigate that.
Okay. You investigate the small purse. Within the small purse, you find a diary of a bride. She laments the loneliness of living in a dark, empty house, and she discovers her sexual desires and longings. Her one salvation was her trips down to the wine cellar to explore her body and make use of the wooden phallus her sister gave her as a parting gift. Her excitement for each trip turned to dread when she noticed eyes leering at her from the darkness. As you read through the diary, skeletal hands wrap around your body, caressing your figure. Warm breath kisses your neck. Wine dripping from hands stain the bride's dress. A woman's voice begs you to enjoy this moment with her. What do you do? Nick, I'm going to pause right here for a second while we thank Nikki. Oh my God, thank you so much for a $100 donation. We have reached past the halfway mark of where we want to get for National Breast Cancer Foundation. Thank you so, so much. We are now up to $300. I can't believe it, guys. You guys are awesome. We love you, and we are so glad you're enjoying this spooky gothic horror game that we're doing for charity. All right, so you are now having one of Bluebeard's former brides proposition you. What are you going to do?
My obedience to my husband makes me desire to shiver from fear.
Okay. Those eyes were servants spying on her. The servants you see here in this room. They're spying on you as well. She whispers, I was so lonely. Touch-starved. He was gone all the time. They told him I was deviant. I was just lonely. You feel the skeletal hands stroke the sides of the bride. What do you do?
I reach down to hold the hands to care for her. Are you the one who died in the bathroom?
The skeletal fingers interlace with the bride's. No, that wasn't me. A lot of us have been lonely. You'll be lonely too. Come, let's have fun.
Sisters, I don't think this is right.
You feel the skeletal hand release the bride's hand and begins to move around to the front of the bride's abdomen.
Sisters,
I believe we should stop it.
yes, I am a married woman, and I understand that you've experienced loneliness, but I have faith that I will not, and regardless, I do not want to commit any acts with anyone, especially someone that I'm not even sure is real.
I mean, this is a spirit. Surely.
What move are you going to do? The hand is moving down.
Press her sister. Show her some love. That's all she wants.
But there are people around us looking. We may end up just exactly like her.
But they're always looking, according to her.
Well, maybe they will help us. We cried out for help earlier, but no one was around. But now there are people around, so I will cry out for help.
Okay, you will roll your resilience. Okay, you got an 8. So with this, the servants turn and look at you. Oh, she's at it again, huh? Yeah, we can help, but how do we know you're not going to turn out just like her?
If I were to turn out like her, then I would not be asking for your help. I'm trying to show you that I trust you to help me, and I don't want to be like this.
So you want to be a good little bride for Bluebeard?
Of course.
The servant that was nuzzling the parlor maid's breasts shoves her off. She lands on her bottom on the floor with a huff. He comes over, yanks the bride off of you, and says, "Quit messing with the new girl." And she disappears.
Is this normal?
Oh, this place is haunted all to hell.
Explains all the drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Have yourself another drink.
Vomit did last time I did that,
well.
so yes. I don't think I will be having another, but thank you for your assistance.
Of course. Names. Roger.
Roger. I will remember that, thank you.
Be well, milady. And he goes back to his seat with his drink and his parlor maid.
Can I take stock now that I've been saved?
Yes, but you're also going to take one trauma from that experience.
Oh, that's okay. I'll go ahead and take that trauma, and I was going to take stock of what does this place demand of the bride?
Okay. Let me think on that for just a moment. This place demanded that the bride lose her inhibitions, as alcohol often does.
And is anything beyond the servant stalking her in this room?
No.
Okay, well, I will pass the ring over to the Animus because I feel I am too pure for everything that I've experienced in this room and would like it to not be my problem anymore.
Thank you so much for this ring.
Seems like potentially your kind of area.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So,
yeah,
the wooden phallus can potentially be a token. Do you feel you can propose a truth in this room, sisters, or do you need to escape it?
Seems to me like maybe it's the servants or some outside forces that might be demanding purity
Yeah.
from his prior brides. That's what that servant seemed to say. He
Yeah.
spoke with a very condescending tone regarding the ghost. Maybe it's not Bluebeard after all.
Well, and it sounds like the servants are trying to drag them into their depravity. And if Bluebeard is wanting some level of chasteness, then, I mean, of course he'd be upset, but it's obviously the fault of the servants that are driving these previous brides to that, so.
Can all the blame just be to the servants, though?
We all make our
Bluebeard
own
is the one that
choices.
had. I'm sorry, Mother?
No, I was just saying we all make our own choices, of course. But if the situation, I mean, we know this house is large, and I'm sure there have been plenty, knowing our husband's history, what little we know, these probably had, plenty of women that have just not been able, they're not made of as tough a stock as we are. They couldn't deal with it, and they couldn't deal with the loneliness. And they obviously fell into the pitfall that was created by these servants and their hooch.
I feel the husband, the Lord, respects us in a way that we haven't been respected before, and I don't want to discount that. I hate to say that we're different. I mean, no woman deserves to suffer any kind of fate that these women have, but I don't know. I believe we were sought out for a reason.
Perhaps the person condemning depravity, as it were, is one of the high-ranking servants, and he has Bluebeard's ear. Maybe if we can ensure that Bluebeard listens to us over that servant, then we won't run into the same fate as the rest.
I'm quite sure that we could. As well as, who's to say that we would experience the same loneliness? I doubt we could be as rejected as easily as some of these other brides appear to have been.
Are we not already? He left to go on business.
He left to go save the estate.
He may always be saving the estate.
Well, maybe we need to help him with his pagan rituals for prosperity.
And if he's gone, that'll help us with chastity. Keep in mind, most of the horrors we've seen are children, and if we're chaste, not a problem.
True. So, sisters, what truth do we have? Or otherwise?
Well, I'm not going to say this is the truth, but there is a truth, and that is that we can all learn something from the rat skeletons in this room before we leave. I'm just...
Virgin, take a look around now.
Let's all speak for ourselves now, sisters.
Animus, what truth do you propose?
Apologies, I'm trying to think of how to phrase it.
That's fine.
I will admit, sisters, I am having a little bit of trouble just because the animus is very much in my ear right now, and I don't want to speak for us as a total group.
It seems that your sisters think that Bluebeard isn't the one that judged this bride and delivered punishment.
I will say then, Bluebeard appears to be a powerful man, but also seems to have very powerful followers nearby. We may not be working to just please Bluebeard, but others in this house as well.
The bride has accepted a token of loyalty, faithfulness. And with that, we will go on break. Just a quick update before we go on break. We are now at $350 of our charity drive here tonight. Thank you so much, everyone that has donated so far. We are so honored that you guys are helping us help National Breast Cancer Foundation. They do amazing, amazing work. I'm personally a nurse, so any organization that is actually going to get their hands dirty to help people really speaks to me because that's what I do for a living. And this place is amazing. What they do is they provide mammograms for people who have low income but are high risk. They provide the support groups that people may need when they're dealing with breast cancer. They provide services like coordinating people's care, helping them navigate the healthcare system when they're dealing with treatment and recovery, which can be a nightmare. I know I've helped a number of patients with breast cancer with that. Basically, they offer so many different services to help people, and they do it for little to no cost at all. So it's amazing what they do. Thank you so much. We're going to go on break. Enjoy the music, and also you will be seeing slides of the rooms. This is artwork directly from the Bluebeard's Bride books. So I absolutely loved the artwork. I mean, it's pretty much, the rule book was 150 pages and it was most of it art. And I basically got an art book instead of a game book, but it was gorgeous. So I wanted to share some of the art with you all. Enjoy, and we'll be back in about 7.5 roughly minutes. Okay? Bye-bye.
I believe in monsters. I believe in ghosts. In haunted houses and tortured souls. Drawn to darkness that never left. Till you possessed my soul and woke me up. The specters in the hallway are screaming out to warn me. Who am I in love with? Desire in the darkness. I'm ready to lose myself. Desire in the darkness. Who am I in love with? Desire in the darkness. I'm ready to lose myself. Desire in the darkness. What are you afraid of? The ghosts within. Show me a black castle and kiss my lips. Oh, the specters in the hallway are screaming out to warn me. Who am I in love with? Desire in the darkness. Come, child, come, love. I'll not see you weeping. Take my loving hand, for how long I've been waiting. Sleep now, sleep, my love. Mama will protect you, for this world's too poisonous for two eyes so innocent. So come play in the half-light with me. Cold among two worlds, frozen in a moment, twisted and bent from pain, with empty arms so broken. Be mine, be my own, and let me be your mama. For this world's too poisonous for two eyes so innocent. So come play in the half-light with me.
Two.
And we are back. Thank you so much for hanging tight with us while we took a little bio break. We do need those when we're sitting for an hour or two at the table. So we are back. We are $150 away from our goal for National Breast Cancer Foundation. So hopefully we can push through that before the end of this game tonight. Woo! All right, so where we left off, there was one thing I did need to clarify. I did realize that I had overlooked one of the rules for this game. When a disloyalty token is taken, every sister gets one trauma. However, when a faithfulness token is taken, that heals one trauma for them. So based on the order in which the tokens were collected so far this evening, all sisters at the table need to take one trauma. Are we good? Okay. So, the Animus proposed the truth that Bluebeard is not the only one this bride needs to impress and be proper in front of. That she will need to maintain appearances in front of the staff as well at this house. She has now left the wine cellar. She walks up the stairs from the cellar to the servants' passage. She thinks to check to see if her bags have been taken from the front door, so she walks into the entryway and sees that her bags are no longer by the door. They've probably been taken up to the master chambers. Her dress is stained, but she doesn't feel like climbing more stairs at this point. She's a bit tired. She wants to sit down somewhere beautiful. She's had a riveting experience. So she retraces her steps and walks down the grand hallway to see some of the public rooms, somewhere she can sit and relax. She steps foot into the gallery. The double door is made of cold greenish metal. It's exquisitely decorated, but has been neglected for a long time. Its upper section is decorated with metallic flowers that emerge from its center. In its lowest section, 2 rampant lions face against one another. The key in the bride's hand has a lion's head at the top. The room beckons. You enter, and the door closes behind you. The abandoned art gallery has numerous canvases hung on both sides of the room, barely illuminated by the dying sun. Even from afar, you can see a thick layer of dust over the pictures, muting their bright colors. The room still smells of the beeswax candles that sit unlit in cold sconces, with a candle on the floor drawing your attention. As you walk, you are surprised by lively sculptures of the same greenish metal as the door depicting women in various stages of life. They are all so lifelike that you fear to touch. As you study them from the corner of your eyes as you pass them by, in the corner of the gallery there is an unfinished sculpture of a skeletal hand and a stand holding a picture covered by a stained blanket. What would you like to do, sisters?
This artwork looks beautiful. Should we inspect it a little bit closer?
Agreed. I would like to step closer to the portraits, if I can.
Okay. So as the bride walks up to the canvases, there are a multitude of portraits. They are dust covered. It's hard to make out all the colors used in them. They have a grayish cast to all of them because of the dust. It's hard to even make out fine details, but you see portraits of women. Some young, some not so young. One grabs your eye. She looks a little like the bride, just far more beautiful, nearly perfect. What will you do?
Walk forward to investigate that picture a little bit more, right? Right, sisters?
Carefully, but yes.
That looks like us. What's uncanny about that?
The resemblance to the bride is striking. But as the bride leans closer, she notices there are subtle differences. Obviously not a relative. It's just striking how similar they appear.
What memories does this painting hold?
This painting holds a memory of it being on an easel and being coated with paint while a woman sat in an ornate chair many years ago.
Maybe we should check out one of the other paintings and see if it feels the same.
Great.
Should we
Either
take
the
stock
paintings or the
first?
statues.
Take stock.
I think we might want to take stock first. This is a beautiful area. What horror is hidden here?
The bones tell secrets. And some secrets are hidden.
Should investigate the painting that has the cover on it.
You can. When you touch the blanket, your fingers feel greasy. The blanket is heavy and well positioned. It won't come off easily. What do you do?
Any objections to just pulling harder and trying to get it to come off?
Harder but carefully. We
Yeah.
don't know what's underneath it, and it might break.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you pull the blanket away, it reveals a vivid painting of an elderly, drawn woman whose eyes and other facial features look uncannily realistic. What do you do?
What else about this is odd or uncanny?
It is really realistic. It might need further, closer examination.
We should probably touch the painting, right?
Yeah.
Are we so sure about that?
It's just a painting, isn't it, Animus?
Is it?
Do you lean in closer to get a better look?
Yes.
Okay. You realize that the skin and eyes are in fact real and wonderfully well preserved. They adorn the rough sketch of an old, emaciated lady beneath them. What do you do?
Wow.
What memories does this item hold?
It holds the memory of an old woman, coughing, in bed, unable to eat. A pillow is placed over her face. But before it covers her eyes, she sees a flash of blue.
So I think this is his mom.
He
But-
murdered his mother?
I mean, I think it's some sort of
Representation?
maybe, or his attempt to preserve her in some way. I don't know. I mean, we all show affection for one another in odd ways, but
Sometimes mercy is a is a show of love.
Sisters, I pose a
would-
question.
Why would he preserve her like this then?
Exactly. We have that. We have the toe of a child of Bluebeard's as well?
Can we also look at the hand sculpture?
Absolutely. You see an unfinished sculpture of a skeletal hand. As soon as you touch the unfinished hand, it crumbles to dust.
Oh boy.
In the dim light of twilight, you can see something white beneath the dust. What do you do?
Look closer.
If you search the dust, which you have, you discover fragile bones splintered apart. It takes you only a moment to recognize them as not only human, but as thin, delicate bones belonging to a young woman, probably one around your age.
Okay. We know he's had other brides, and they haven't necessarily been faithful, at least according to the staff that we've encountered.
Right.
So maybe, this is going to sound crazy, but maybe he loved them so much that this was his attempt to preserve them, much like the painting that I believe is supposed to be his mother. I don't know. I know you'd say bury him out in the back and put a headstone up, but art brings more people in, I suppose. It's something you can show off, even though maybe you don't let them know that it's made up of bride. So,
I hear your thoughts and I hear what you are saying, sister. To me, it represents... We see a lot of things around this place. Bluebeard seems to be very sentimental of items and somewhat controlling, even though he's open about letting us wander around the grounds. What's to say that he will ever let us go, even beyond death?
I think we are still assuming a lot of things are attributable to him when, we know Bluebeard isn't around the home often. How could he take such time to preserve these bodies? It may be some twisted servant who has a penchant for art. I don't know.
But if it was his mother, that means someone to him, means something to him. The servants can't exactly act without some knowledge from their lord. Isn't their lord just as damnable as the servants doing these deeds?
I suppose.
Would that not make us the same?
Yes, you're right. But if we speak out, what happens to us?
I don't see how making a memorial in this way is any worse than letting the worms eat their bones. This may even be a more honorable even than just to throw someone into the dust.
Perhaps he's harnessing their souls for something.
What does that mean for us?
Maybe we assist him.
Yes, I think we have a grit that perhaps all of these brides haven't possessed. We've worked with our hands. We've experienced dirt. If we stay alive and work supposedly in his side, maybe we can think of a more witty way to, I don't know, save others from sharing this fate.
I hear you, sister, but I have to take note of the specific words that you used. The if. That is taking a huge gamble upon our own faith, our own lives, our own futures. And who's to say that Bluebeard may not wake up one day and decide to put a pillow over our own faces?
Why
If
did,
it was an act of mercy, we might welcome it.
I'm not so sure about that.
why did we marry him then? I mean, he's given us so many things. He's offered us a life. I still think there's good. And I'll
He's
stand by
offered
that.
us things, I do agree. But it seems like there are several chains that we were not aware of.
Can we ask what this place demands? What this room demands? If we take stock of the rest of this room again?
It demands honor and devotion.
Can we maybe step away from the bone pile? Can we investigate the statues?
Yeah, I was going to ask if we can do that next.
You can look at the statues. They are of women in various stages of life.
Are there any kind of identifying markers, like a placard or anything?
No.
Okay.
If this place represents honor and I apologize, groundskeeper, go on.
And devotion.
And devotion. Then might this place also be showing all of his previous people of importance, such as his mother, such as the other brides?
Perhaps sisters.
Agreed.
There's an infant statue as well, so maybe he cares for his children in some capacity, at least, if this is the case.
Do any of the statues have the patina of the copper worn off?
No.
He hasn't touched them. He hasn't cared for them, so if these statues are for honoring them.
But do remember, sisters, what he told the bride. His personal sanctuary is off this room. He must pass through it frequently when he's home.
So does that pose that he has perhaps walked away from honor and devotion?
He reminds himself of it every day.
But yet he does not indulge in it.
But art is not necessarily to be touched, is it? You have to. Some of it has to be admired by from a distance, as we discovered with the hand statue thing.
True. But there's also care with. Oh, I apologize, Virgin. Go on.
I just wanted to say he values purity, so wouldn't want to touch anything.
I would argue, Virgin, then to honor the purity of making sure that everything is still pristine, is still not dusted over and forgotten. Sisters, what do you think we should do next? I am in favor of leaving.
Yeah.
Animus, will you propose a truth, or will you pass the ring off to another sister to do so?
I will pass it off.
Okay. Which sister are you passing it to?
I will pass it to the mother.
Okay.
Sorry. I trust you most.
Oh, no. Yeah. So I have to propose a truth. So, sisters, I know some of us feel that this room allows our husband to reflect on his loss in life, and others feel that it's just kind of a shrine to his own. I'm trying to think of his own need for I don't want to say, it's almost his own need for manliness. Like he's keeping pretty things just to keep them. I struggle to find which one feels the most. So I welcome your, your arguments.
See, sister, now you understand where I was having difficulty. I think it is important that he keeps these mementos as reminders of his successes and his failures. However, I do have to be concerned that he's ignoring them entirely instead of learning from them.
Okay. Yeah. I can understand where you're coming from with that sentiment.
He wasn't ignoring them completely. They would be in an attic somewhere. Instead, they're here where he can see and is reminded of them every day as a, whether it's a token or a warning to himself, it could be one or both, or trophies even.
I will caution though, maybe it isn't necessarily every day. Our husband is always apparently away on some sort of business, and the dust here is heavy. I don't see obvious recent foot traffic, so maybe he isn't. Maybe he's avoiding this place. He's turned his back on his obligation to the past, or honoring it.
Talked about the possibility of him being cursed. Perhaps there are things that happen that he simply just can't control.
True.
We also talked about the possibility of him harnessing the souls and the bodies of these past entities. Maybe if he cleans or touches or interacts with them too often, it damages his connection to them. You wouldn't want to damage a perfectly good conduit.
Like we just did.
Yeah. Taking all of your words into consideration, sisters, I feel the truth of this room is Bluebeard, while we feel he is beholden to others in some capacity, he has obviously turned his back on this perceived honor, because if he hadn't, he would care more for what we find in this room, or even perhaps we would find more art of various types to the different things that we've encountered so far. Whereas the woman from the wine cellar, or the woman from the attic nursery, I mean, are they represented here in his menagerie of memories? Or so I guess
What is your truth?
My truth is that Bluebeard is not honoring the past anymore, and he is solely just plowing forward in his own.
Every sister at the table takes one trauma, and you have earned the bride a disloyalty token. With this truth, you're pulled towards the door at the other end of the gallery. You traveled these dark halls in search of truth most divisive. Each room provided you with all the evidence you desired to make that one fateful choice. Now you stand before the forbidden final room, and you have decided. for the disloyal outcome. The bride has collected enough evidence to prove her husband's malicious intentions as a disloyal bride. The bride must decide to either present her evidence to the town or run away and start anew. But first, will she enter the room or will she peek through the keyhole?
I am in favor of peeking through the keyhole, but I don't know how you feel, sisters.
I feel we've already risked enough. May as well go in.
Enter.
Leave.
I think we should go in.
That is 3 for going into the room, 2 for not. The bride puts the small golden key in the lock and turns. There's a resounding click, and the door swings open. The room beckons, and the bride enters. The door closes behind her. When she steps foot in the room, with her lantern in hand, the floor is covered in blood. There are bodies of women hanging, lying everywhere in the room. More women than the bride can count. She is so stunned, she drops the keys. When she goes to pick them up, the golden key is covered in blood. She opens the door to leave. The door does open. She tries to wipe the blood off the key with her wedding dress. The blood will not come off. She hears her husband walking in the grand hallway just outside the gallery. The look of fear on her face is stunning. He walks into the gallery, sees her standing before the door, notes the bloody key. He shakes his head, puts both hands around her neck, and kills her. Thank you, ladies, for playing Bluebeard's Bride. Now, I do have some questions about our bride, because now she is one of the horrors of the house.
Right.
Fun. All right.
The bride horrors in the house are meant to better the future brides. Now, that sense of betterment can be warped, twisted, okay? So, what room does the bride's soul reside in? And it doesn't have to be a room that you traveled through. It can be any room you can imagine. What room do you think the bride would reside in?
I think the gallery.
The garden.
I was going to say the garden.
The garden?
Garden.
Oh, I would say gallery.
Garden. All right. What about the way Bluebeard displays the bride's dead body makes her happy?
He leaves the flowers in her hair.
How does the bride disguise the horror done to her body?
Since we're in the garden, she has like almost like a scarf made out of like woven ivy that she has wrapped around her neck and kind of drapes over her shoulder.
Mm-hmm. And how does the bride punish future brides for transgressions against Bluebeard?
Fertilizer.
Chokes them with fertilizer?
Let them become fertilizer.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Well, seriously, thank you all so much for playing. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed running it. It was a lot of fun. And y'all had some of the best banter back and forth and negotiating, and it was so good. And thank you, viewers, for tuning in. It's been an amazing turnout for our first Horror for Hope charity stream. I actually plan to do these annually in October to raise money for the National Breast Cancer Foundation during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We raised $400 out of our goal of $500. We are $100 away from goal. So if anyone's considering donating, get that in, please. Click the donation link.
Is the
We
link
are $100 away.
is the link going to be available after stream?
Yes, I will actually post the link in Discord. You can join us over at McStabber's Lounge on Discord. I will post the link up in the chat for this game. We have public chats for all of the games that stream on our channel there. And I will advise people that if they missed it, they can still donate. That way we can get as much help as we can to National Breast Cancer Foundation. Also, if you liked the show but missed part of it, you can always watch the VOD here for free. We do not subscriber lock anything, but you can also check out our back content on YouTube. You will be able to see our Wraith stream that recently finished up, our DC by Night stream, vampire stream that we did a while back. You can check out Haunted Chronicles and Ishvel. Haunted Chronicles is the Chronicles of Darkness campaign that runs on our channel on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. And then we have Ishvel that runs on Saturdays. It's a D&D Norse-themed 5e stream. So, and those two channels, they have long links there in chat. Please go click the links, give them a free subscribe on YouTube. Once those two channels hit 100 subscribers, we are going to give away 2 $30 gift cards to Drive Through RPG here live on Twitch to viewers. So if you just do a free thing, click that subscribe button on YouTube for Haunted Chronicles and Ishvel. Once they hit 100, we will give you money to spend on cool RPG stuff. Oh, and we got another donation. Thank you so much. We're up to $420. So, and then basically I want to thank everyone here that played tonight. Thank you, ladies, so much for being willing to put a little faith in me as a brand new GM.
Thank you for
Braylon, you can terrify me anytime.
Yes, you did a phenomenal job.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Hopefully I made your skin crawl just a little bit.
I'm still having goosebumps. It hasn't stopped since we started. So
Fantastic. So join us in Discord. Check out the YouTube channels. If you like the content we are streaming, definitely check out some of our friends. They produce some great content on their streams. You can give them some love. Tell them McStabber sent you. And thank you all so much. And what am I missing, sweetie? He's back here off mic. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'm so wrapped up in this game, I forgot that I'm in another game tomorrow. So tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern. Yeah, 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock Eastern, we are doing a special roleplay game. It is actually not a roll the dice and play a TTRPG game. We are doing an old school murder mystery party, like the dinner party murder mysteries that used to be done in the 80s and 90s. But we're going to do it virtually here on Twitch. So there's going to be 8 of us role playing without dice, just role playing out a murder mystery dinner party. It is called Deadly Dinner Party, and it's at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So thank you all so much, and we do hope to see you again tomorrow. And check out Haunted Chronicles on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we hope to see you in Discord. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for all your support for National Breast Cancer Foundation.